At the age of 18, when I first came to India, I was enchanted by the yogi-shamans, by the Naga Babas of India. Naked in ashes, long dreadlocks twisted with marigolds piled on their heads like crowns, proudly austere, sitting upright in some yoga asana, giving blessings to wild-eyed pilgrims, seekers and the poor. They shouted out mantras that charm or curse people's lives. That was the public image. I couldn't interpret then the hip arrogance I saw in their sometimes bloodshot eyes. They seemed about as far from the ordinary world as one could wander. Sort of my story as well, having traveled as far from the land of my birth as one could go. They were naked. They wore ashes from their sacred fire instead of clothes. They had few possessions other than their few magical instruments, their tridents, their tongs, their water pots, and lest I forget, their chillams. It wasn't that they were mad. This was theater. There was a narrative, something arcane from another age. If it was theater, it was also ritual. For where those two worlds meet, one being a mirror image of the other, the narrative of self-knowledge is performed. According to Indian storytelling, some 2,500 years ago appeared a man who became known as Adi Sankara, India's greatest philosopher, prolific commentator on all the sacred texts, poet, and for our purposes here, the founder of the monastic order known as Sannyasis. And then, from among these sannyasis, about 1,000 years ago, a number of lineages of naked yogis formalized even more ancient bonds, going back countless thousands of years, into an association known as the Akhara. The naked yogis became known as Naga Babas. In India today, an Akhara is usually a wrestling club located behind a Hanuman temple. The naked yogis, however, in the Akhara of old and even today, perform a different kind of wrestling. Outwardly intellectual, rhetorical, and political, but below the surface of their theater operates a human machine called tradition that carries knowledge down through time. The Akhara's collected lineages look back for their origins to the age of Treta, many millennia ago, the age of the epic poem, the Ramayana, and to the three-headed guru of yogi-shamans, Dattatreya, their ultimate founder. Guru Dattatreya is naked. His dreadlocks touch the earth. He is the son of a progenitor of the human race, Atreya, and his wife, the personification of female Shakti, of female power, named Anasuya. His three heads are those of the Hindu Trinity, the Indian Trinity, the creator, preserver, and destroyer, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. His four dogs are thought of as the holiest and most sacred of the Indian texts, the Vedas. and the mother goddess herself sits on his lap. After all, he is an incarnation of her husband. Dattatreya is the original guru of yogi-shamans, he who has crossed over and shows the path. Even being an avatar, a descending one, he is mainly known as Avatut, the messenger of the gods. He is always pursued, for he is the knower of the self, as much the mentor as the herald. He makes the narrative known to those who join in his theater. The guru provides the means for knowing the self, and the self reflects the entire universe. Even today, in the Akhara of Dattatreya, which is now called the Old Akhara, each yogi sees Dattatreya as his guru. Our physical gurus, for we start out with 5, are called Shakshi gurus, witness gurus. They give initiation to the disciple into the oral tradition, which is called the tradition of knowledge. Hinduism is a word constructed in the West by India's colonizers to represent a set of beliefs thought to be held by most Indians, thus a religion. But traditionally, those thought of as Hindus, originally referring to people who lived on the other side of the Indus River, had no concept of Hinduism, but speak of the sum of knowledge among all the diverse traditions as being the Sanatan Dharma. In the oral tradition of Naga Babas, we think of the Sanatan Dharma as the book of the world.